Hello and welcome to Screen Views. I'm Dave.
I'm James.
And this is the weekly podcast where we give our views on a film and TV show.
Each episode is unscripted, unedited, so anything can happen. Listeners should be aware that we do include spoilers, so feel free to fast forward, rewind, or simply buckle up and enjoy a somewhat coherent conversation.
Our podcast is based on the idea that there's no such thing as a bad movie. Therefore, for every review, we'll give a recommendation instead of a rating.
But first up, we're going to have a quick discussion about what we talked about last week to see if our opinions have changed. And we're back.
Hello.
Yes.
Here we go.
We're back. We're going to do a podcast. It's going to be our mission for today.
Yay!
And, we'll
Should you choose to accept it, James?
We chose it and we're recording.
Yeah. For better or worse.
Yeah. So last time we watched, was it Skyscraper or Incredibles?
It was Skyscraper. Skyscraper was the last one.
Yes.
So we've done a re-review of Incredibles in the last one. So we need to think about, get your head into...
It is unfortunate how we're looking back on Skyscraper, big action, heavy movie, in the same... But this week we're also doing a big action heavy movie.
True, but it's good for comparisons, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like we're always going to make the Tomb Raider comparison in there somewhere. I've already got my Tomb Raider comparison lined up for this one.
No, with Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Oh damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't think.
You can look out for that, James.
Spoilers, not spoilers. Easter egg for a little gem for later on.
Yeah.
So Skyscraper, I've not really been interested in seeing that again. I mean, we've got Incredibles and Mission Impossible in the cinema, and if I was going to do a rewatch of a film, I'd probably go for. You don't know what I'm going to think of Mission Impossible.
Podcast spoiler.
Who knows? But
but then it's not difficult. It's not difficult for me to work out that you might see Incredibles 2 or Mission Impossible again over Skyscraper based on what we spoke about last week, which is it's not a bad film, but it's not a great film.
Yeah.
It's an okay film.
It seems like a film which you want to... I used to when like films came on TV. Do you realize how long films are on TV? Do you know how like a 2-hour film turns into like 3 hours?
Well, because of adverts, yeah.
Yeah, and they used to always really annoy me, the adverts, because it used to be like, and then adverts. I feel like if Skyscraper was on TV, I wouldn't really mind the adverts. Like, okay.
You look forward to the adverts.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a scathing review, that is, James.
Yeah. Well, with an action film, you're like, oh, what's gonna happen? What's next? But it's so choppy and so like. There's no tension. It's sort of like, okay, there's this set piece and this set piece and this set piece and this set piece.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like you'd
like,
look forward to like a tea break.
Yeah, so that bit's over now. Now this bit's over now.
Yeah, although that sort of stuff doesn't really apply anymore with like TiVo and stuff, does it? Just like pause it whenever you want.
Yeah.
And then play it again fast through the adverts.
Yeah, although
it's like a very different experience where
YouTube still draws it back. I never used to. Adverts annoy me more now because of YouTube.
Right.
But I grew up with adverts. I grew up watching a program with adverts.
Yeah.
But now I've got so used to this world without adverts, and then they brought the adverts back in.
Yeah.
But like YouTube is sort of like, and YouTube have different adverts. There's adverts which you can skip after 5 seconds, and adverts which you can't skip. That's like, damn.
Is it that you can pay for like a special account and you don't get adverts?
YouTube Red, you don't have adverts. And you can also get ad block. I'm not sure if that works.
I like how we've like sidetracked away from the re-review of Skyscraper. I mean, there's not a lot else to say other than it's okay.
Yeah,
as an action film.
It's actually it's just okay, and it's probably if you got kids who you think Mission Impossible would be a bit too intense, a bit too violent, then it's probably more family friendly. Action.
Because it's got that 12A stamp that we sort of spoke about, didn't we?
Yeah.
Does Mission Impossible?
I think that might be 12A as well.
Is that a cue in to check the age rating for Mission Impossible?
Yeah.
I didn't really. I normally take a note of that thing, and I didn't really take a note of Mission Impossible.
But what I would say is that Mission Impossible 12A as well, a very good 12A. It doesn't actually. It's more about suspense. Mission Impossible was very good at suspense, and like some people, a lot of people can't handle that much suspense.
Well, it sort of managed to keep the rating down, probably due to lack of sort of like blood.
Yeah,
like you don't really because there's definite like kills and definite like shots to the head and stuff like that, but you don't actually see it.
No,
so I think they've probably done some like clever editing there to just sort of get it into that 12A bracket. But I would agree it's definitely at the higher end of the 12A. So I think if you're considering going to this film with like younger kids, like you say, Skyscraper is maybe a better option out there.
Skyscraper, you see someone start to fall. In terms of violence, if someone gets hit, Skyscraper is like when you see someone start to fall out of frame. Where Mission Impossible, you see it all, they fall on the ground, and it's like more impact.
Yeah.
But that's my review of Skyscraper.
Yeah. So in our re-review of Skyscraper, we managed to talk about adverts and the film that we're about to review, and not much about Skyscraper. So if you do want a more in-depth review about Skyscraper, maybe check out our previous podcast on it, because we do deconstruct it a lot more than what we have done here. But it is a bit like the old sort of Ron Sill does what it says on the tin job, and so you know it's not, you're not gonna like be too disappointed if you go and see it.
You can't hate it. It's sort of like, I don't know, it's just exactly what
it's almost difficult to muster the energy to hate on Skyscraper, because it is so it doesn't try to pretend that it's something that it's not.
It's like an own brand sort of cereal from a supermarket.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's Cocoa Puffs.
But I think it's that thing. Like again, it comes back to, I think we spoke about this in the episode, is that if you're looking at paying full price for Skyscraper. Maybe not the best choice that's out there. Maybe wait for it to come on to Netflix or something where you can or TV, like we're saying, and maybe that's one for the future.
I reckon.
I want to say bargain bin DVD section, but I think
a real it'll be harsh. On Sky this Christmas for their Sky Cinema, and I reckon they'll have a double bill of Die Hard and Skyscraper together.
Prediction.
And I reckon
maybe throw a bit of cliffhanger in there as well. Just sort of like link the two. And then
what's cliffhanger again?
So Sylvester Stallone, where he like hangs on cliffs. Like heights, I guess. But then you could then link into Mission Impossible, which we were about to talk to. It's like the chain.
So Mission Impossible.
Here we are.
Now, you said you hadn't watched any of this.
I saw the first two.
Yeah.
Might have seen the third one.
Yeah.
What are we on now?
Is
this
5.
The fifth?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I haven't seen 3 and 4.
See, they're all independent, apart from the last one and this one, which I didn't realise. So I didn't tell you, because I didn't realise until...
Yeah.
And so...
That's why I was asking, because I thought... And I had a feeling based on what I'd seen in the trailer that there was going to be a connection. And you were like, no, it's fine. But so the first thing that I would say is that you don't need to see the fourth one to understand the fifth one and the relationship between the characters. Okay. It's like pretty obvious that they kind of know each other. It's maybe not like a detailed background, but everything for me is explained, and I can. Okay, we can test that if you want.
Well, what I like is that there's a link to every film within this film.
Yeah,
which is kind of nice. And we'll go through them one by one once we get to the characters.
Okay.
And in terms of what my opinion of it is.
Right.
Initially, I don't think I was that excited about this movie, and actually looking back when the last movie came out, the adverts didn't really get me either. I love a Mission Impossible film, and when I watch it, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I just watched the trailer, and I just wasn't really that bothered, that interested. A mate of mine loved the trailer. I loved the whole look of it.
What, for this one?
For this one, yeah.
Yeah.
But I went in knowing that I'm probably going to enjoy myself in a Mission Impossible film, but not actually that excited.
I'd say I was at a similar place going into this film.
Yeah. And I think I became something that I hate within this film.
Oh, what's that, James?
Yeah. So do you know when you watch American movies and they're the stereotypical black people laughing and shouting and just being loud in the cinema?
Oh, right.
Do you know that it's a horrible stereotype. I hate it. But I became that stereotype. I go, damn, and I became everything which I hated.
Oh no!
Because this movie just got me. It really did.
In a good way.
In a very good way.
Oh,
in a very good way.
Do you know who the director was?
Yes, so it is where is it? Christopher McQuarrie. I've written it down, but I can't I can't read my own writing. So he did The Last Mission Impossible.
Oh,
he did Jack Reacher, which was a big success.
Which was with Tom Cruise as well. Yeah.
He wrote The Mummy, which is with Tom Cruise.
Right.
And he wrote Edge of Tomorrow, which is with Tom Cruise as well.
Okay, so it sounds like he's got a good relationship with Tom Cruise, which I think is probably important, because I was kind of like watching this film thinking, would I ever want to work with Tom Cruise? Like, it's an interesting thing, because in the starter credits it says a Tom Cruise film, and it's almost like the director didn't exist. That's what I was asking, who the director was, because I didn't really I noticed that, like, you've got the Bad Robot connection, J.J. Abrams, producer, so, like, there's names that are coming up that I sort of noticed, and obviously the actor names and that, but I just didn't catch the director name. I'm sure it was there, but it's interesting that it's fronted as a Tom Cruise film, and not the director name who we have managed to, like. So, what did you say it was called?
McQuarrie, Christopher McQuarrie.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
and so it's interesting that he's done a lot with Tom Cruise. Yeah, and I imagine that it's at that point now where you have to know how to handle Tom Cruise, or Tom Cruise has to work with somebody who knows, like, how each other works. And I mean, I don't mean that in an offensive Tom Cruise as being a diva way.
No.
I just think that he's such an experienced actor, especially in the action genre. Yeah. Now, like, I would be very nervous if I was, as anyone would. I think if you were giving direction to someone who probably knows or is probably more experienced than you are. Yeah. So I think, I think it's probably a good thing that there's a relationship going there.
Well, I think so basically he did the last Mission Impossible film. And Mission Impossible is sort of Tom Cruise's project. There's no denying it. He is the face front of it, and he, years before anyone else is actually casted on it, he's already preparing work for it. I mean, for some of the stunts he did in this film, it was like 2 years to get ready to start doing the stunts.
Right, yeah, so it's like this constant cycle. Yeah,
and he was saying how, like, there's sometimes he'll prepare for a stunt, prepare for something, and it won't really work for that film, and so they might put it in another film. And so stuff that was in this film was actually meant to be in a film 2 movies ago, but it didn't actually feel right for that movie.
Right.
So I feel like actually working with Tom Cruise, with his own baby, and sort of being Tom Cruise is telling you how to direct it. It's your vision as well. So I keep moving the table. So working with Tom Cruise on a Tom Cruise movie, and then Tom Cruise coming along with Jack Reacher and is sort of like who are then directing Tom Cruise on his own on now your movie. So okay, I did a movie with you, you held the reins. Now I'm the full director, so you're gonna listen to me completely. But then join together later on, thinking, well, I know how you work and you know how I work. Now let's collaborate. I think that was sort of a perfect sort of way of.
Yeah.
So they've worked on their projects. So they've each worked in each of his like sandbox, if you will, and now they're really comfortable in working with each other. And yeah, so I think it was the perfect way of actually of getting to know Tom Cruise and get to know each other's style.
Yeah, well, they're obviously collaborating together, so something's going right.
Yeah.
I want to make. Sorry, I'm like resisting making jokes about Scientology and
is he a Scientologist? I can't remember if he still is.
Tom
Cruise.
Yeah. I thought he was like, I don't know, heavily involved in that.
Yeah,
because like I've heard stories about Simon Pegg like getting drawn into the mix, and that's why they collaborate a lot on films. Well, but I don't know. That could just be internet hearsay, fake news.
I do know. Yeah, I know he's a big, strong collaborator, and like I know he went crazy for a while, and I know but I know everybody's a mixture of quite a lot of stuff. And I know he specifically makes a point of, when he goes on talk shows, specifically makes a point of talking to everybody in the office, and in the office of the talk show, not going to like the set of the office and meeting everybody there. But in terms of like talking to everybody in the office, and then when he leaves, he says goodbye to everybody by name as well. So he's got a really good memory. He's a big people person.
Well, he's a phenomenal actor, and that's why he's like been, at the top of the Hollywood game, as it were, for what, like 30 years now? 20, 30 years? It's a long time, isn't it?
Perhaps longer than that.
Like, so
he's where's he now? He's in his 50s now.
He must be. Yeah, he's looking pretty good.
Yeah. Really good.
Yeah, and one of the things that, if people aren't aware, is that one of the impressive things about the Mission Impossible series is that he's definitely made a concerted effort to do his own stunts. That's like a big part of why a lot of the stunts are impressive, because you can, when you watch some movies, you can sort of tell, okay, they've got to hide angles and that sort of thing, because it's, it's clearly a stunt person, and that almost directs the film in a way that is restrictive. So it must be quite good for a director to be able to work with somebody who's doing a lot of their own stunts, because it changes what you can include in terms of like shots. So I mean, there's a standout shot that I think is in the trailer, which is something that I'll maybe come to, but there's a shot where he's in Paris, in the Paris chase, and he's on the motorbike. He hits the car and he goes over and he like rolls towards the camera. And it's at a canted angle, and it's just it's just a really nice shot. And I think if you're working with an actor who's not willing to sort of roll towards the camera off a motorbike, you can't include those kind of angles, or you've got to cheat it through like green screening and other ways, which I mean, like, I'm not sure exactly how that stunt was done, but you can tell that it's Tom Cruise rolling towards the camera. Either that, or it's done extremely well, and I clearly don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I do. That's just one of the ones which I don't think was done in camera. For me, that shot just looked a little bit weird. It's one of the reasons why I want to rewatch that film, just for that shot. There's two things which caught me out. There's that shot. There's also a lot of the chasing in Paris. So really Tom Cruise on a bike going through traffic, but they speed it up, which I don't mind, but because I noticed it, because he turned his head, I noticed the frame rate was a bit. It was
really
weird. I do know when you watch
I hate changing
stuff,
frame rate.
People are like, there's a big chase down the street, and they clearly just fast forwarded it. That's what I saw, and that annoyed me a little bit. But,
really? I didn't see that. So,
but so that's
if I had picked up on that would annoy me too.
That's the only.
There was that Western in Netflix, that Netflix Western that I don't think we covered on the podcast.
No, I'm not
There's
sure
a TV one. I thought you watched it. I thought we spoke about it. Maybe I should dig it out as a hidden gem.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember off the top of my head what it's called. But anyway, there was an end sequence shootout within that where they changed the frame rate, and that annoyed me. So I think if I'd seen it in this, it would annoy me as well. So I can understand how you would.
I think you got annoyed by that, the chase sequence, and then followed with that stunt. I was looking out for more stuff that's a little bit wrong. I was already in that mindset.
Right.
So maybe that stunt was a bit ruined for me because I was looking out for...
Oh, okay. I just thought it was really, really cool shot.
Yeah. But my favourite Mission Impossible stunt is just nothing really... It just seems really weird. but it's when a knife was millimeters away from Tom Cruise's eye. So basically, he got a knife and a chain and measured up perfectly.
Right.
And so it's really Tom Cruise, and it's really a knife dropping with great force towards his eye.
Yeah.
If the chain broke.
Is this in which one is this in?
Mission Impossible 2, when they're fighting on the beach at the end. And yeah, that is just the idea of someone putting a knife right towards me. It's just crazy.
I find it interesting that we're both like big fans of Mission Impossible 2.
I love it. I feel like it's
it's like a weird one because I think for me again it came out at the right sort of time, but yeah, I mean that, and then I just love the climbing sequence at the start. There's like Tom Cruise is just on holiday. What do you do on holiday? I'm just going to climb a massive mountain, and like there's going to be some cool music playing as I do it. That's what.
So I love. I'll talk about the Mission Impossible 2 tie later on. Yeah.
If you ever want to answer the question, what does Ethan Hawke do on holiday?
Yeah,
just climbs mountains.
Although I reckon he won't do that anymore. He reckon he did that because he thought they will get to him. But now he do realise he's got a helicopter. I think next time he'll just be underwater, and so when they send the submarine, he's thinking, okay, well, else can I do that? We'll be interrupted by the Mission Impossible Task Force.
Oh right, yeah.
So yeah.
Either that, or he'd just be like doing something really mundane.
Yeah. Should we talk about? In fact, can I talk about the tie-ins now?
Yeah,
because I don't know if
we can go to the
we'll go back.
tie-ins.
Yeah. So Mission Impossible 1.
Yeah.
Max's daughter is in this. So the woman who is sort of, well, she's sort of like the trading woman. They go to meet her. The
White Widow.
The White Widow. Yeah. She's Max's daughter. So
who's Max?
Max is the woman in the first movie, which they're trying to track down. I think Max is a boy, and then Ethan Hawke finds her, and it's this woman, and she's in London, and she's got this big underground organisation in London.
Right.
And
in the first one, I don't remember that, but
so she's a big character in the first one.
So is that
That's my lookout for the tie-in for the first movie.
Okay.
For the second movie, which is a bit of a stretch, and it's kind of funny the way it's interpreted, but Luther sits down with the female character in this movie. Can't remember.
Elisa.
It is. So I'm just looking on the old IMDb now.
Yeah. Once again, good prep. Both of us.
So the woman character in this, which is like pretty much one of the only women in this, Rebecca Ferguson, Alicia. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
He sits down and says, "As long as I've known Ethan, he's only had a thing for 2 women." Because at this point in the last movie, they were just platonic friendship. They were just like there was no love interest whatsoever. Now it's so refreshing about the relationship in the last movie, which you didn't see, but the way she got
Elisa is the friend.
Yeah. She and they were just friendship. And then Luther sat her down and said, "Look, he's only cared about two women," and describes like what happened with his wife. And doesn't mention the second woman, and Elisa assumes it's her. Like it's
does she?
Yeah, well, I got
assumed
that.
they were talking about somebody else.
Oh, I
can't remember what the history.
I got the fact that wow, he's only care about 2 women, and he cares about that woman so much.
Right, okay.
And I knew the other woman. So
right.
I'll go at the end of the episode.
Oh yeah.
And then I was thinking, well, Luther, being like knowing what we know about Luther, he's obviously talking about the woman in the second movie, which is Telda Newton.
Yeah.
Newton's character, because like Ethan went to the end of the earth to try and save her. So he's obviously on about her.
Okay.
So I kind of like the way that sort of tie.
Link number 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Link number 3 is Ethan's wife. We don't hear about Ethan's. We hardly ever hear. We only hear a glimpse of Ethan's wife in the last movie. You only clear up where she is at the end of the movie.
Right.
So Ethan's wife.
Was she in Mission Impossible 3?
Yeah.
Right.
She's a big character in Mission Impossible 3.
I have seen Mission Impossible 3 because it's Philip Seymour Hoffman, isn't it? Yeah, so I have seen that one.
Awesome character.
Yeah. It's interesting because I probably remember bits of I remember the second one more clearly than the first and the third one. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, so I've seen that. I mean, if you're a fan of Philip Seymour Hoffman, it's worth watching Mission Impossible 3 just for him.
And if you're fan of a villain who...
Such a loss.
He is such a... Ethan Hawke and him, in a fight, Ethan Hawke will win. There's no doubt in my mind, there's no doubt in anyone's mind, in terms of, like, who the best, like, here, like, in terms of action star is.
Yeah.
It's Ethan Hawke. Like, but there's something menacing which Philip Seymour Hoffman has. He's a really good sort of, like, mind villain to Ethan Hawke.
Yeah,
He's really good.
Yeah. It's like almost like a kind of Bond villain.
Yeah.
You know, that they're not physically in their prime, but they're, you know, mentally
and
strong.
Even when Ethan Hawke catches Philip Seymour Hoffman, Ethan Hawke can't break him at all. I mean, the other villain where someone's like outmatched in terms of physicality, it's all about trying to catch him. They're so organized they can't be caught. They can't be captured. But when someone can be captured and tortured and still not break, that's something. When someone's captured and they escape before the torture scene, and that's something they're clever and they got out of it. But when someone's captured and they're tortured and they still don't break, it's just like, what do? You can't do anything. You literally power. It's like the Joker and Batman in The Dark Knight. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
And then in terms of like the fourth film, this is a direct sequel to the fourth film, so there's loads of tie-ins.
Yes.
I kind of like the way this is sort of like the film that ties them all together, which is like and does so nicely. If we talk about, did you see any more tie-ins at all?
No.
No.
I thought you were gonna. I thought the Mission Impossible 2 tie-in might be the cliff sequence at the end, but we're not really. You're not really linking action sequence, because at some point I think you could probably say, oh well, there's a helicopter crash in this one. There's a helicopter crash in that one. There's a motorbike chase in that one. I mean, they're probably in every single one. So you know,
if the theme music started coming on, and he sort of did the same rock movement. In the second one, I would have said that.
It's not like a homage or anything.
And I was looking out for the same rock movement.
Different.
But yeah, it was different. If we talk about the spoiler intro, it annoyed me when I was watching the spoiler intro. So the intro, which had clips of what's happening
bits
in
of the film, yeah.
That annoyed me when watching it. It really did.
Yeah, but then you saw. I mean, so if we're getting into like. You know, I think we should probably talk about a lot. There's so sorry, I'm stumbling over my words, because what I want to say is that I think there's a lot of good points to this movie, but a slight negative for me is that a lot of the best bits are in the trailer, and that happens a lot with like action movies, and I don't know whether it's just my memory. So like. You know, you get to the bathroom scene and you know, okay, so this person's going to smash through a wall with this person, and it looks pretty cool because it's in the trailer. So the minute they walk into that bathroom scene, you sort of know what you're going to get. And the rolling over with the car and the motorbike, I'm pretty sure that's in the trailer. The helicopter stuff's in the trailer. So there's a lot of the key action sequences that they put in the trailer, and you can sort of see, okay, right, this is coming. I know what's going to happen here.
Like a dot.
Yeah, like he's going to run towards a helicopter and grab onto it, and Simon Pegg is going to say a throwaway line, "Don't look." And you can sort of see where the setting comes, like I know what's going to happen, and that's why I think I prefer teaser trailers or not seeing a trailer. So I think if I hadn't seen the trailer to this film, I would have been more blown away. So you know, I think it's just that thing for me when I've seen a trailer, it doesn't get me more excited about the film. It gets me more annoyed about the film, because when I'm watching the film, I know what's coming.
Yeah, I did think so. Like, I did think that would annoy me, but this is the only case where I totally agree on paper with what you're saying. One thing they didn't capture, which was worked for me, was just the tension throughout the movie was always building and always. And the one thing, and it's something which I didn't anticipate from the trailer. I mean, I tried to stay away from trailers, but I saw a teaser. It didn't really grab me that much. It really bothered it. And then I was in a situation where I was in the cinema and there was no chance to leave because the trailer was on. And because the first one, I wasn't really bothered. I saw the second one. Still didn't really bother me. But I think the thing which I didn't realize they don't capture in the trailer is just the ongoing tension, the ongoing sort of like, I feel like it didn't stop to breathe. It was always building and building and building and building.
Yeah.
And building. And normally there's like a stop, breathe, reset the batteries, a couple of jokes, everybody's happy. Okay, back to the mission.
Yeah, I think it sort of did have a little bit of that. And I think the clunkiest points in the film, unfortunately, were a lot of the scenes where they were just stood around talking. And it was unfortunate because they needed those scenes to explain to an audience what is going on, what needs to happen next, and also for people like me who haven't seen the fourth one, explaining a little bit of backstory. Yeah. So I get that those scenes are needed in there. Yeah. But I just didn't think they were, they were a bit clunky in terms of the dialogue, and very explanatory. So. Yeah, I get what you're saying about the sort of relentlessness of it, and that was good. And I agree with the building tension, but I think there were those kind of breakout bits that kind of like...
I must have been so engrossed in it then, because I reckon on second watching I may come back to you and say, actually, you know what? Yeah. You're totally right.
Was it some sections it worked really well, like the White Widow section, that whole... conversation tension worked really well because it was sort of blended with a bit of action, but also the main tension in that scene didn't come from the action, it came from them talking. It was a little bit Bond-esque in that sense. But there were some scenes like the scene when they're in the car discussing what's happened, what like they're just doing like a little bit of a what's going to happen next. How do we defuse the bombs? I don't know. I'm sure you'll work it out 10 seconds later. He'd worked it out. There's kind of like just little bits like that. The bit when they're in the underground tunnel talking, and
I didn't. So basically, I felt like that on that bit. However, because it was sort of a misdirect and followed by sort of a scene which you don't expect.
Yeah, I guess
I feel like that one's a little bit more...
It's okay that's clunky.
Yeah. And with the White Widow one, because we knew directly before, there's loads of people that are going to kill you in this scene. Loads of people that are out, they're going to be here, they think you're this guy, and they're going to kill you. So you sort of had this quiet talking scene, but in the background, there are people...
Yeah.
There's stuff about to go down.
Yeah, I didn't quite get... This is probably just me. I didn't quite get what was going on, who they were killing at that point. Like, were they CIA agents? Were they British? Like, who were they the apostles? Like, who was trying to kill the White Widow at that point? Like, I really didn't
no one's trying to kill the White Widow. They're trying to kill Tom Cruise.
Right. But who was trying to kill Tom Cruise then?
So the British Secret Service hired Rebecca Ferguson's character to kill the guy that Tom Cruise killed. And
no, she shot that guy, didn't she? Oh, spoiler.
Yeah, but she was meant to. Oh no! 1 second, no. She was meant to keep him alive.
Yeah.
Because he was going to break. I'm not sure.
But that's see what I mean. Yeah. It wasn't 100% clear, but I think that's okay. It is a good scene. Yeah. Well put together. Good little, like say, Bond-esque tension leading into the next action sequence. And like I say, I agree. Like overall, this film is very fast paced. It's quite long, but it moves through the gears.
It's also quite interesting seeing Ethan Hawke care about lives, and like you sort of forget with all the other movies, they're so so confined within a baddie universe, and so you very rarely see innocent civilians in it. Normally, anybody's up for grabs in terms of killing. But in this film, they sort of intertwine the public a lot more.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of interesting in the way you say,
clever.
we're not doing it this way. No, we're not doing it this way. And it's quite clever how he got a different plan just to make sure nobody.
Yeah, I like the little fast forward sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of obvious. Like I did think that about this film actually. So the little fast forward sequence, it was quite good. It was quite obvious that to me it was flash forward. But like how they made the sound was like dampened and it was really well shot and so I thought there was a few things in this film, like the twists and turns. It's kind of obvious that they're coming, and you sort of know that they're coming, but it doesn't matter that you know that they're coming, because it's how it plays out that's the interesting thing. So even if you predict, I kind of, like, I bet this is going to be this, and you even though you can foresee that as an audience member, you still won't know quite how it plays out, other than the bits that you've sort of seen in the trailer. So I think it's good that the twists and turns, it doesn't matter if you spot them coming, because
the fact that they're there is they're done really well,
and it's the way that they're done.
It's what else did I have down? I thought the sound in this in this film was incredible.
Yeah,
I realized. It's just all the scenes are blended all together, and how they interpret the theme music into the score sometimes, but not too much. There's never like.
Did you like that? Because I know we've spoken about this before on the podcast, and as I was watching it, I was like, is James gonna like this or not?
I don't like it in terms of like there's no specific moment where like it kicks in and you're like, yeah, Mission Impossible. There's none of that sort of like, because normally like everybody remembers like blue light, red light, or the gum sequence in the first film, when he's like putting a gum together, slapping it onto the helicopter, and then jumps off. The music behind that sequence is just incredible. There's a sequence where Tom Cruise picks up some sunglasses, gets on a motorcycle, and just starts speeding down the road in the Mission Impossible 2, and some music kicks in, and it's just like incredible. In fact, there's a sequence in every single movie where music and visuals just blend together in a proper hardcore rocky sort of like sequence. In this one, it felt like it was more of a they blended together. I felt like I really want to listen. I really want to watch this movie again and focus on the music. So I know I enjoyed the sound, but I can't tell you at what point I enjoyed the sound, if that makes any sense. Normally when it comes to soundtracks, I love it when a soundtrack is elevated in a certain sequence.
Yeah.
And then you think, oh, that sequence with that soundtrack, but I just felt like it was the soundtrack was the scoring of this movie was done really well because it worked with the visuals. It's uplifted the visuals rather than becoming side to side with the visuals. I'm not sure if I'm describing how I feel about it very well, but I just remember every now and again realizing the reason why I'm enjoying this scene because of the way the sound is edited. The reason why I'm enjoying this because of the way the sound is edited. And,
you see, when you're talking about sound, I thought just in terms of sound effects, like with like, and the soundscape was done really well. So the underground tunnel bit, there's people, there's an emotional moment going on, but there's shots in the background that are, and the sound effects for that are done really well. Yeah. So I think there's a good level of sound. Like, I mean, that happens in every film that we sort of see. But I agree what you're saying. Like, is it's all sort of blended well together. What I did notice was that there wasn't the Mission Impossible kind of theme. Yeah. And I'm sure I heard little hints to it, and that's why I was sat thinking.
Only heard hints.
is James going to like this? Because I can't remember where you stand on that. If the hints to the music is okay, or if it's not, because I think we've seen something, or a couple of things where
I'm normally on the side of not, but this is something done not to my preference, but done to the best possible way.
Yeah.
So I wish there was one scene where you do get that sort of like dun 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 dun.
Yeah, which is what I thought.
But I also think sound, in terms of when you mentioned sound effects, to show the different fighting styles of Henry Cavill and Tom Cruise's characters. I love the fact that you really have like a sort of bassy sort of hit. When Henry Cavill hits, you really feel it in the whole sounds. I think Ethan Hawke is very quick and very snappy, and like Henry Cavill is very bassy and very like.
Well, they obviously approach the two characters throughout the film in the way that Angela Bassett describes them, where she's like, you prefer a scalpel, I prefer a hammer. Yeah. And they obviously considered each of the characters as those two instruments. Yeah. In terms of the fighting, so there was obviously that was running throughout the movie, which is a good level of attention when films go that extra sort of like mile in that sense.
In this sort of scenario, what always happens in movies is that the smaller protagonist character will somehow become strong enough and skilled enough to beat the bigger character. But throughout this whole movie, Henry Cavill is always a better fighter than Ethan Hawke.
I think so. Yeah.
There's no movie where Ethan Hawke, there's no part in it where Ethan Hawke wins a fighting.
Although I thought what was interesting was that the bathroom sequence, is a bit of a spoiler, but neither of their methods worked. Yeah. Yeah. Like so, but I do quite like that. There was kind of like a joke about the masks, wearing the masks at one point. I think that happened a couple of times or maybe once, but there was a mention. So Cavill was mentioned. Is that really your plan? And, to put the face on, and you sort of know from that point that the plan is, every Mission Impossible, they always make these plans and it never quite, there's always a level of improvisation, which is great, which I think they also made fun of, like a couple of times where they were like, we'll just work it out. But I thought, so there was kind of like little hints to the face things not working, and then when Simon Pegg questions the why do I have to be the face thing, Luther sort of looks at him and goes, and I was thinking at that might happen, that should happen, and the fact that it did happen, it didn't happen in the way that I was thinking it should happen at some point. Yeah, because I was thinking at some point Ethan should have this grand plan to take on somebody's persona, and then it turns out that they're like, a 7 foot black man or something, or a woman, or just something that he can't like slap a mask on and become. And that's so it sort of happened in the film in a way, not the way that I envisioned it. It was a bit more subtle, but I liked that it was.
If they do another one, it'd be amazing if it is like a woman or one of them has to play like a bigger character and. Or a big character plays a slimmer character, and they have to sort of move in a way which no one knows. No one can see their body, but they can see their face. Yeah, I suppose
they could do that. I like with the Mission Impossible tick box is that you have to have trick somebody with the mask at relatively near to the start of the film.
Yeah, they do it in this one, do they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
at the start of the film.
Yep, with the sign. Well, again, spoilers.
But
I know, with the scientist at the start.
Oh.
So.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
But that was one of those moments where I was like, well, I can see I can see the twist coming. It was where they tried to make out that the the nuclear fallout thing had actually happened.
I do remember now. Yeah, cool.
So, but that's tick box Mission Impossible. You have to trick somebody.
Yeah, it felt like okay, these have been, and also the masks have been so integral to the main story.
Yeah,
I kind of like this way. So it's not really like they are meta because he does make a joke of it, and so even though they are involved in the story, not really that involved in the story. And yeah,
I did because like at that point in the movie, because it came quite quickly. I don't think my head was quite in the Mission Impossible movie game, and when they started talking about, we need to unlock your phone, I was like, so you've got all this technology and you can't hack somebody's phone, and then I sort of like, and then I caught on to the twist before the twist with the mask trick happened, and I was like kind of glad that I was like, oh yeah, they're just tricking him. But it did. But when you deconstruct it, so like when you deconstruct it, it's quite interesting because you're like, well, so they went to all this trouble to recreate someone's face and voice, have a film studio happening.
Yeah,
visualize parts of the world like destroyed, and live stream. And mock news in somebody's room in order to unlock a phone.
Yeah,
and you just sort of think, where is our IMF budget guy?
Yeah.
You can just imagine like the budget guy in the like back office somewhere. He's got like this like tiny office and like no one cares about him, and he just sort of comes and goes, well, like in Office Space, guys, why are we spending all this money on this when we could just, invest in this technology that would unlock a phone? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. And also, who makes a phone? You should get the person who makes a phone to unlock it. There must be ways of.
Well, yeah, like much cheaper ways, less elaborate ways. But it doesn't matter in the context of like.
Yeah.
If you wanted just a realistic spy film, you wouldn't necessarily watch Mission Impossible, would you?
No.
Like I say, you need the mask trick. Is the like tick box.
It's done well. I'm glad with the Henry Cavill sort of like trick thing, that was done quite quickly. It wasn't drawn out that much. So they went away. He went back. He started speaking. There weren't that many lines of dialogue.
It was done well. Yeah. Twists and turns.
And
I'm trying to keep quiet on that for people who haven't seen the film yet. I know we include spoilers, but
overall I thought it was pretty decent film, and I love the fact that Simon Pegg in the when they're looking for like the bomb. He sort of went on a wild goose chase over these X-ray equipment because they don't know where it is. They're going on. So like he's going to join the other character, even though the other character's found something. He's still searching through this room, which is sort of irrelevant because we know it's not there because we know she's found it.
Yeah, although I can see how some people would get annoyed with that actually, though, because it was pointed out to him that it was probably a decoy by the Elisa character, and yet he carried on.
Yeah,
anyway.
But she spent years with in the last film.
It's explained.
Yeah. I don't know, but I kind of like the way it's not perfect. I kind of like the way it's not like, well, you think that, but I trust my instincts, and because they're both he's just new agents in the field.
No,
as well,
I don't have an issue with it. I'm just saying that I could see why people.
And Rebecca Ferguson wasn't a damsel in distress. She saved Simon Pegg rather than Simon Pegg saving her.
Yeah, that was a really good sequence.
Yeah. I listened to the Bechdel Cast, which is a podcast about the Bechdel test.
Yes.
You need two female characters. You need to say more than two lines of dialogue with each other, and they need to both have names. this doesn't pass because Ethan Hawke's wife said a line of dialogue. No, it could pass. No, Ethan Hawke's wife doesn't say anything to Rebecca Ferguson. She just touches her. Rebecca Ferguson says something to him. So even though this does have two very strong female characters in it still doesn't pass the Bechdel test.
Interesting.
So yeah.
But on a positive, the Rebecca Ferguson Eliza is quite a strong female piece of casting. In terms of, like you say, not only does she save Simon Pegg, but she also saves Cavill and Ethan Hawke at one point as well.
Yeah. So I think they all like, so basically the wife character, I think is a really strong female character, because even like trying to say like even if you think that she's got her own life. She's inspired by Ethan, but she's not. Her life isn't determined by him. Like, I saw how you won, and look at what I'm doing now. Like,
yeah,
it's like, you don't need to save me. You just do what you do, and that's enough. Like, I've got my own life, and it wasn't about winning her back. And I think Rebecca Ferguson, and I think the only female character we didn't like was the CIA sort of like. Was head that woman
Angela Bassett?
Yeah. I just think there was just a character-wise, there was just not really much there.
Yeah, I mean, she wasn't really given that much to do, though, was she?
And she appeared at the end saying, "Oh, these guys came, like, oh great."
Yeah, but I mean, she was sort of there throughout, wasn't she?
But, yeah, but I don't know. I just didn't really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought like, but I didn't really. I started to hate. I sort of liked the fact that Alec Baldwin's character had one final hurrah. He didn't really bring much to it, but I'm glad that his stint in this universe, sort of like, he had that sort of like one little fighting scene. Wasn't much, but you know what? I'm glad he had it.
Yeah.
And yeah. No, I will definitely be seeing this film again, because.
I think one thing just before we move into the recommendation stage that I'd like to say is that I just do think the action sequences were really well done. Yes. So as much as you can like sort of critique the story, critique logic, deconstruct like poor dialogue, the action sequences are just awesome. Like, you know,
helicopter.
Yeah, just like every scene is just so well directed. It puts you in the action. Like, I mean, they're ridiculous because, you know, if you crash two helicopters into each other, pretty sure you're not going to survive in the way that the characters do.
Yeah.
But it's the way that it's done is just it's just really cool. In
terms of like, because Tom Cruise had to get a helicopter license because he flew the helicopter. So then shot of seeing Ethan Hawke flying a helicopter chasing after
right.
It's actually him in it.
Yeah.
And because he didn't want to show any camera people in the helicopter, he was also camera person as well. He had remote controls over the camera person. So more than a shot of him in the helicopter, he was camera person as well, remote controlling a camera as well as controlling a helicopter.
Yeah,
it was just crazy.
Pretty cool.
And yeah, I just think and like when you actually look at that and look at how close they got to each other, thinking that's Tom Cruise. He's only just got his license, and he's doing some very dangerous sort of helicoptering. In the interview I saw, like Henry Cavill at one point said, like, "This is how I die. This is how I die," because they are doing some dangerous stuff right next to each other. It's not like someone who's been flying a helicopter for years. It's
But that's what I think makes this kind of series like good, is that you have got that dedication to doing like stunts in a way that you're not perhaps going to see in any other way, and just like say, so it gives the director an extra opportunity to do stuff, but also I just sort of think the budget is spent very well in the right way, and it is just like really each action sequence is done really really well, I think, and so what I'm trying to say is that you can forgive all the other stuff, and the link to Tomb Raider is the helicopter sequence, because like when you look at the helicopter sequence that this was done, even if you forgo the chase and the bit where they're sort of it's falling and they're trying to get out and they're trying to not fall, and you have that in Tomb Raider where it's an abandoned, I think it might be an aeroplane, so it's not quite a direct. So my link is getting a bit more tenuous.
So the tension about like the airplane falling off the cliff.
But it's just the way that the helicopters falling off the cliff in this film are just it's just so much better than that sequence in Tomb Raider. And that for me is one of the key differences between the films, is that there might be clunky dialogue in there. Yes, there might be like a bit cheesy at times. Yes, it might like be self-aware, and there might be, I can understand things that that viewers could get annoyed about. But for me, one thing that you can't get annoyed about is the way in which the action sequences are shot.
Even there's a big running sequence, and like because Henry Cavill had like a huge head start, he's walking. It's like a reverse like Halloween Michael Myers sort of sequence. Like Henry Cavill just walking along and the doctor's just running. Yeah. And,
but even that it was shot really, really well. Yeah. And the bit that's in the trailer actually wasn't the best bit of that sequence, so that was quite good.
There's also that sequence is a sequence which Tom Cruise broke his ankle.
Oh right. Okay.
So when he's jumping off a building, he landed wrong into the building and broke his ankle, and so I think it cost the insurance had to pay out $17 million. So
really,
yeah.
Like, but surely he's put himself at risk there.
What do you mean?
Why would the insurance pay out?
Because they had to delay the whole shoot. They had to delay everything. They had to heal, and
right.
Obviously they've it's a tight booking location, so
okay.
So I
see.
everything after he's healed. It's like
Sorry,
$17
that
million.
makes more sense.
I
thought for a second you were saying that Tom Cruise got paid $17 million for breaking his ankle.
No,
and I was
like,
how does that work?
But so it may be difficult for him to do more stunts later on because of whether they want to take that risk.
Yeah, I didn't show for me if he.
In terms of if the studio will let him.
Oh right, yeah. But what I'm saying is that they obviously got, if that was the case, they got around it, because for me, like I say, every single action sequence is pretty phenomenal and is really really well done.
So,
and like I say, even what did annoy me was the trailer bits. Sorry, I know I'm repeating myself slightly here, but even though the trailer bits are in there, so you could sort of see what's coming. There was everything around it was those small bits was done really really well. So it's for me, like, it's just a really good action. Reminds me of the kind of, I know, everybody sort of like goes back to the Bourne sort of series, and I think that is an important connection to make, because like you probably see it with the Mission Impossible films and how they progress in terms of their editing and that sort of thing. I know, like, sort of you could like even go back to like Gladiator, but those fast edits and engrossing you in the action in the way that the sort of Bourne films does, this has that feel about it.
Well,
and it's done quite well in that regard, I think.
The bathroom scene when he grabbed the pipe which hooks, and you can see exactly how that hook changes how the person fights with it, I thought was really quite interesting, and that reminded me of Bourne quite a lot.
Yeah,
taking sort of practical in the environment, and in terms of budget wise, he was estimated at 178 million. And worldwide, it's on like 363 million so far. Take into account probably about 100 million for advertisement. It's like 20 million. It's earned about 20 to 30 million pounds so far. So it's earned some money, but it's not that great.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah.
I thought it was funny was about the title. Because, I was questioning why it's called Falling Out. Or not Falling Out. It's called Fallout.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, there'd be like a nuclear aspect to that.
Yeah.
And I can't remember.
There is not, right?
What?
There's no nuclear. There's nothing.
Well, the whole... this is what we spoke about last week.
Yeah.
Didn't you? You were just like, well, it's just because they all fall out with each other or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not.
Be your downfall.
No, it's because... So Fallout, nuclear fallout... the whole thing was about plutonium and nuclear weapons being.
I did.
That's the Fallout.
Cool. Well, yeah. I just felt like this just fell out. And the next film, I just think.
But it does work on. Sorry, what I should say there is it works on both levels in a way for, because there is with some disagreements in there as well.
I think the second film is the only film where Ethan Hawke is working for the Mission Impossible force, where he's got a job and he's doing his job.
What, IMF?
Yeah, IMF. Yeah, all the others.
Is that what it stands for?
Yeah, Mission Impossible Force.
Impossible, but it's IMF, not MI.
Impossible Mission Force. Yeah.
Is that really?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be something more interesting than that.
all the others, he sort of had to sort of go rogue,
right,
and sort of had to go under the radar, and like their organisation doesn't trust him, and so I'm not sure how many times you can do that.
Yeah, I did think that was interesting. Although this one technically he doesn't go rogue, he just sort of pretends to,
they make
in
a
order
point
to
of it,
like.
though. Yeah.
But I think if you looked at it, he doesn't actually go rogue.
Yeah.
It's just that there's a pretense that there's a question of whether he does or not.
It's a bit like the Kingsman sort of thing. You can't. He says he can't trust anybody. So he doesn't know who's bad or who's not bad. So he's not going to trust them. We're just on our own. And I just feel like that is sort of repeated again and again in movies. Like the Kingsman 1. It's sort of like, we don't know who's good and who's bad. So do it our own.
Yeah, it's
Kingsman
like
2, there's no more organisation, and so they're on their own.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like,
at some point, you need the team.
Well, even the first Mission Impossible is about trying to stop an agent who's acting on behalf of IMF, but they're like, it's like an internal problem, isn't it?
Yeah, well, because they know there's a rat, and because Tom Cruise is the only one who survived that sort of investigation, and Nicholas is out there, then they assume that Tom Cruise must be the one who's the rat in the IMF. Yeah. And so then Tom Cruise has to sort of like follow along the breadcrumbs to find the person who. Yeah.
And I know what you mean, like, because like James Bond, they've sort of gone down that route as well.
Every single time.
It's like, it is a bit done.
You need to say what is right. I'm glad number 2 does it. And I'm glad this one. Okay, yeah, I'm glad sort of this one does it as well. But he has to work on his own because he doesn't know who to trust. And like, at some point, you do need to trust. I think with these movies, with 1 or 2 movies, you can get away with that. Okay. But now we're on the 6th. We're on the 6th movie. Is this the 5th one?
Or the 6th?
So the next one is the 6th.
I don't know. I thought we were like confusing ourselves here because you know when you went through your links.
Yeah.
This was the 5th one.
Yeah, then this is the 5th one, yeah. So,
because it's only linking back to 4 films.
Yeah.
So the next one will be the 6th. Is that what we're saying?
Oh, no. Oh, this might be... Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yes, we are. So Mission Impossible 1, Mission Impossible 2, Mission Impossible 3. We got Ghost Protocol, we got Rogue Nation, and we have Fallout. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's...
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to look pretty stupid if we've got this wrong, James.
Yeah. Unless I may have not seen one of them.
I mean, we forgot one.
I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah.
So is Ghost Protocol the fourth one then?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Right, so we're on the fifth one.
On the fifth one,
so where do you think this one ranks in that regard?
It's either my second favourite, or third favourite. A load of people saying, "Oh, this is the best one yet." Don't think it's the best one yet, but it's a highly enjoyable film, and for it to be the second or the third on my ranking, and it to be the sixth film in the franchise, that's successful. I don't care. Like I say, I think it's my second favourite actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I haven't seen Ghost Protocol.
No.
I think is that the fourth one? Yeah.
Fourth one, yeah.
Oh, no, it's Rogue.
Rogue Nation is the fifth one, which means this is the sixth one. Yes.
So is this the sixth then?
Yeah.
So I haven't seen. Right.
You haven't seen two of them.
We really.
Yeah.
In order to save our podcast, James, we really need to be clear on this.
Okay. Mission Impossible 1, Mission Impossible 2, Mission Impossible 3, Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, Fallout.
So this is the sixth one?
Yeah. The next
okay,
one
so my original thing is that maybe... Which one's the one with Philip Seymour Hoffman in?
Third one.
Yeah. So I've seen the first three, and then I've missed two.
Yeah.
Right. So... Yeah. I can't really...
Yeah.
So
I would...
So the next one will be Mission Impossible 7?
Yes.
Right. Okay, I'm glad we're
if they
clear
do
on
the next one. I hope they do. But then if they didn't, it's been like sort of like... Yeah. I'd be okay with this being the last one.
I was almost thinking what might be interesting is at some point Tom Cruise becomes in charge of IMF.
Yeah.
And then he, that gives chance for some younger sort of blood to come in and... for him to sort of get involved, but like a bit like a player manager, you know what I mean? Like, he's getting to the twilight of his career, but he still gets in the field a little bit when he needs to.
Rebecca Ferguson in the first one, even though she wasn't seen like she was sexualized, there was a bit where she got out the pool, and then when we first saw her, she was in this big long dress, and we got to see her long legs, and there was a lot of male gazing. In terms of how she's treated in this film, very elegant, but I don't think once she was treated as sort of like a sexual sort of creature. And I think it's sort of like if we are going to have sort of like, so if in the next film Tom Cruise and Rebecca Ferguson are 50% doing the action, 50-50.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Then it'll be interesting because you've two films now where you've sort of said, oh, this is what this person is, and.
Like I say, be good if Tom Cruise actually gets in charge of IMF.
Yeah,
just give a bit of stability and bring on some newbies.
If they don't want to, it's also be cheaper because the insurance for the next film, if Tom Cruise does his stunts, will be way higher.
Yeah,
and so it depends if the studio wants to pay out that. So he may have to be there.
I really hope they don't go down the sort of like prequel route and try and get a younger Tom,
I'm not sure if you can because
Han, like the Han Solo. Yeah. I know we talked about that in a previous podcast, and I think the actor in that did a really good job. But I just don't like Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise. It's like
There's nothing, but like in terms of like you've got Tom Cruise in the first one. He's not really used to He's not really used to ordering, and he's not really used to. He's quite basically in a team. He's basically just doing. He's not really improvising. He's just.
Yeah, but is he
thrown into this?
He's not on his first mission though, is he?
No, but I get the feeling that all the other missions are a little bit boring in comparison to what happens in Mission Impossible 1.
Well, maybe we'll find out. The prequel.
But I think Tom Cruise is such a sellable face.
Well, maybe they'll CGI him onto like a teenage. They'll do that. No, that'll just.
I'm not sure. I don't think.
Having spoken about how good this film is because of the practical effects, that would just go against what the series is about. So I think it would be good to see more.
Although I'm glad
Rebecca Ferguson's character.
They're not doing the old like Bond, what Bond did, because Bond is saying like, "Oh, this is about your childhood, Bond," and this is about like, you thought all these missions were bad when this is what really made you. This is what really created you. I'm really glad they haven't gone back to Ethan Hawke sort of like, oh, he's your father, and oh, he's your mother, or his family. And I'm really glad they haven't troped of that yet.
Yeah,
none of it is about Ethan Hawke's.
I really didn't like that about the Bond series. Like, and I know we're not reviewing Bond, and I'm sure we will get to do that at some point on this podcast. But what I didn't like about the Bond series is when they went down that route. And I thought Casino Royale was amazing. Love that film so much. But and then the next couple,
I didn't mind
Skyfall and what was the other one?
Spectrum.
Yeah, that was terrible. But the one before, was there one before? There was a couple, like there was one that was really bad, and then
Solace, probably.
Yeah, and then
Skyfall.
Was there maybe I'm forgetting one.
Pretty sure it's
Skyfall. Yeah. So
I didn't mind Skyfall as much because they sort of treated it quite nicely.
Well, it was well shot. Like that's the thing. I mean, the cinematography kind of makes Skyfall for me. The storyline was just a bit of a copy of Dark Knight and other stuff that we'd sort of seen, and the whole family backstory. Well, I know we're not doing a review of Bond. Sorry,
I think with the family backstory thing, I know I'll be off this for a second. I think with Skyfall, I really liked the way it was sort of. This sort of backstory was it was more about a scared little boy, and then in Spectrum it was more about the family, and then it was more factual. I sort of didn't like that. Thinking you're either gonna sort of hinted homage about who his backstory is, but once you start making it factual, that's when you start taking the mythos out of.
But Spectre again, maybe I can do another helicopter link in here, but like Spectre just was not a good film. No. Like objectively, it wasn't. You know, there's what's our motto? There's no such thing as a bad movie. That pushes that boundaries a little bit, I think. But that might be a subjective comment. But again, objectively, I think if you looked at the action sequence in Spectre and compared it to this film, like I think this film would be better.
Oh no, definitely. Yeah.
So that's maybe that's the start of a recommendation. So for me, like I would recommend any fan of spy action genres to watch this film, because I think it really is a good lesson in how to do interesting and engaging action sequences, and I'm guessing those are the kind of sequences that made you start becoming a stereotype.
I felt like it was a suspense film without the thriller aspect. It was just always building and always there and always never letting off. I mean, I'll rewatch and I may them scenes which you mentioned may stand out like a sore thumb on the second watch. But I just went in with thinking it was going to be a mediocre film, and I just got a lot out of it. Because the trailer doesn't have like a lot of jokes. It doesn't have it's not very warm. It's quite a bleak film. But even if no one else was smiling at the end of it, I was. I thought it was I really enjoyed it.
But I think I sort of agree with that. Like, there are other aspects of, it's like a modern blend of, I know genres nowadays, it's not, films don't really sit in one particular genre, but like I say, if you are a fan of a spy movie, if you like your Bond films, like your previous Mission Impossible films, that sort of goes without saying. I'm assuming if you're a fan of Mission Impossible, you're going to watch this film. But if you're someone like me who's gone away from the Mission Impossible films, just for no reason at all, or maybe because you feel like it's been saturated, I think if you come back into this film, you don't need the the previous knowledge because it's all explained.
Yeah.
It's a good film to watch. If you haven't seen any of the Mission Impossible films, it's still it's still one that you can watch, and it will get you excited to go back and watch the other films.
Yeah.
Because you will get a bit more about the characters and their relationships and that sort of thing. And so, you know, I think I would recommend it for people like me in that regard. Fans of spy action, maybe a bit of fans of thriller as well, and suspense movies. And it's got a little bit of, you know, it's got that a little bit for everyone in there.
In terms of Tom Cruise's performance, I think, even though I love the first one, that's probably one of my favourites, I think in the third one, he acts damn good. He's a damn good actor in the third one. And I believe that he really plays a nice character in this one as well. So my favourite Mission Impossible in terms of just Tom Cruise and acting-wise, not just an action hero, not just Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise, but actually Tom Cruise playing a character. The third one, definitely hands down the best one. But I like him in this one. I think he's pretty good. I don't know. I did like his character. He's not the best fighter. He's not the best in this film. He's not the smartest. He doesn't fight the hardest. He's just But I just felt like he works well with a team. He's also a team player in this one. I kind of like that. And like when a hero sort of relies on his team. It's not about his team, because if any one of them dropped the ball, the whole mission would be kaput. It's not about even Hawk sort of saving a day. If the rest of the team weren't working, then
I get what you're saying. It is a little bit about Ethan Hawke saving the day.
Yeah,
the sense of like, oh, he can't be married and you can't have because he's got to save the world.
But to the logistics of like the plan, I'm glad it was sort of like, okay, all hands on deck. We all need to do this.
Yeah, but I think that's what has always been great about the Mission Impossible series is that it's not like, you know, that's where it's quite different to James Bond, is that, you know, he needs that team with him, even in the first one. Yeah, you know, I'm just thinking about the dropping scene and the sweat and the floor, and you know, he always needs those people behind him, like, and that's what I've always really liked about the Mission Impossible. So I get what you're saying, the one thing that I wouldn't recommend it for is somebody who's wanting to see like sort of an action film with like romance worked in. Yeah, because unlike some of the other Mission Impossibles, there isn't really a romance story at all in this film. So I think if you're wanting to see that mixed in with an action, it's kind of not going to hit those notes. So it's not the greatest sort of date movie in that sense, because you can't. I mean, this is like terrible of me, because like what I'm doing right now is I'm like stereotyping like listeners in regards to like what men want to see, what women want to see, and that's perhaps wrong. What you can get from this film, you know, is a strong female within the action, and which you don't always get with other action films. So that's a huge positive. I guess what I'm saying in terms of a date movie, if you want something a bit light, a bit like light-hearted, it's not going to tick that box.
Although it might give you an excuse to get a bit closer when the suspense parts can like, oh, look, come here.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay. But in terms of like, if you just want a sort of like, not really think about it, sort of popcorn movie with some jokes and some action, Skyscraper. That's the only time I'll recommend Skyscraper.
Yeah.
So I won't mention it again.
Yeah. But this is good. A good action film.
Yeah. Most people have seen it, and so if you have seen a Mission Impossible film, and you've liked that Mission Impossible film, then give it a go.
Yeah, you won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So
moving on to
next week. Next week we'll be reviewing Ant-Man and the Wasp. So it's the next Marvel movie moving into Phase 3.
Yeah.
So it's the first one after the Avengers. So we'll be talking about that one. We'll be talking about spoilers as well. If you haven't seen the Avengers, I don't know. I'm not saying we will talk about the Avengers. I'm not saying we won't. But it's in that same universe.
Yeah.
So just be aware that when we talk about things like with this podcast, we've talked about the other Mission Impossible films.
Yeah, there's kind of an assumption that you've seen them.
Yeah,
I guess.
so we might be talking about the other.
We should probably give a warning at the beginning of the next podcast as well about that, in that regard. Yeah. I wasn't thinking of that. With Ant-Man, I haven't seen the first one yet.
Oh,
so this is a difficult one for me.
Yeah. So you've only seen him in Civil War.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I enjoyed Ant-Man in Civil War.
Oh, yeah.
What's the actor's name again?
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. I like. Well, I really like Paul Rudd. I'm struggling to.
Yeah.
I love Paul Rudd in most films. I think that's okay to say.
Yeah. If I met Paul Rudd, I'd say I love you, man.
Yes.
Which is a film which he doesn't.
which is probably my favourite Paul Rudd film as well. Yeah. Can't think of a better one. Some people will probably curse me for not saying Clueless, but I Love You Man is amazing.
He plays a supporting character, but
but I Love You Man's better.
Yeah. Okay.
40-Year-Old Virgin maybe comes close.
Yeah.
But in terms of Civil War, what I saw from his character in that, I quite enjoyed. However, Ant-Man was on Netflix, and I did try and watch it, and I stopped watching after about 5 minutes.
5 minutes, that's all. Okay, wow.
Yeah, so I just don't think I was in the right mood for it. So
not there anymore.
And yeah, so that's annoying because I kind of want to watch it, but now I'm guessing I'm probably going to have to pay for it if I'm in another Thor situation that we had leading up to Avengers. So I might bite the bullet and pay, but I might not.
Cool.
So we might watch the second one, and you might have to do some explaining.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, we'll just see how it goes. Yeah.
But I mean, it's not difficult to get the concept of his character, though, is it? He can go really, really small or really, really big.
Yeah.
Is that the?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no. In the end, we never heard about him going really, really big in the first film.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's a bit of a spoiler in terms of. But doesn't he in the trailer for this one?
Yeah.
There's a joke with some guy where they both talk about how big they are, or they've been.
That's
or
in the trailer.
Yeah.
Oh, for God's sake.
And
I've not seen the trailer to Ant-Man 2, so.
So is he referring to when he goes big in Civil War then?
Yeah. So in this so sorry. In the first film, there's no reference of him going big. So that's why in Civil War it was sort of like, oh my God, he's big. Oh my God. Right. So you're saying like like this is this core concept of what you get in the information you get in one. No, you only get the bigness in two. So when they talk about bigness in the second film, you're up to date with that sort of information.
Yeah, but what's not explained in Civil War is how he's suddenly able to go big.
Well, the suit isn't explained in Civil War whatsoever. Or who he is, or where he's from.
No, but what I mean is that if it's not explained how he can go big in the first Ant-Man film, when I watched Civil War, I just assumed that he could go big or small in the first film. It's
hinted at as like an Easter egg, and people who know the comic books, it's a given, like that he becomes that character.
Yeah,
and so I think it was just like a leap of faith. And I thought Civil War was sort of like a cool sort of introduction to it. Because in Civil War, they said like, we need a big distraction. It goes like, I've only done this once, not sure if it's going to work.
Yeah, and again, that's more evidence for me thinking that he'd done it in...
No, because
first Ant-Man
it's been a couple of years since the first Ant-Man film as well.
Right. So when is Ant-Man versus... or Ant-Man and the Wasp, when is that set in the universe? Is it after Civil War or before?
Not going to say anything.
Okay.
No. I'm not sure. It's in the same world. That's all I'm going to say. And
okay.
Yeah,
right.
it's best to go in without that information.
Okay.
But no one else knew. It's not like established in any of the trailers. It's not established anywhere.
Okay. So that's fine then.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
And I think from Avengers we've because Adam's not in it. It's implied that he's under house arrest.
Yeah.
In Avengers, so that's not. So basically, yeah. So that's where you jump into Advent 2.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Not spoiler because the information's already out, and you see that in the first frame of the movie.
Right.
So good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think in the first one he comes out of prison. Doesn't
Yes.
he?
Yeah.
That's literally about as far as I got.
Oh.
So, yeah, I know it's not.
So,
it's not
yeah,
great. But
I know you were a bit tired. Is there anything else you think you didn't like about it? Was it just not your sort of thing, or?
I think this is purely subjective. That I just wasn't in the mood for a Marvel film.
Gotcha.
So
when that was on Netflix,
yeah, I think it's that ease of being on, because it was on Netflix. I just put it down, thought, oh yeah, I'll come back to it, and I'll watch it at some point. But I never got round to it, and now I'm kicking myself a little bit for not watching it.
Yeah. But yeah, it was I enjoyed it. It's I think it's a very okay Marvel movie.
Yeah, I guess the question I should ask is, do I need to see the first one to enjoy the second one? Or can you go in like Mission Impossible? Doesn't really matter.
Well, I felt really bad when watching Mission Impossible to realise how much it was tied in. So I was really interested to see what your opinion on this film was.
Yeah.
The fact that it actually brought you along and it was fine.
Yeah, I think they explained everything in in visuals and dialogue in a Mission Impossible. I feel like there was enough explained that I wasn't sat there thinking, oh, I really wish I'd seen the other one before this one.
I think if there is an easy way of you seeing the first one, I think it may be useful. Okay,
so if there's other podcast listeners out there who haven't seen the first one, I would recommend for them to see it as well.
Because it's just to get to know the characters, because the characters are left in a... Sorry, 1 second. Sorry.
No.
Oh, we are human.
Podcast.
Yeah.
Podcast coughing.
I think the characters have gone through some stuff by the time this film starts, and so a lot of this film is them adjusting to the journey that they've gone through, and them sort of getting back to how they were, and without actually knowing how they were, you sort of you're unsure of what the destination is, what the equilibrium is in terms of their relationships.
Okay. Well, we'll see. Yeah. But
if you don't want to see the first one, it also might be a really interesting way of you'll be the perfect example of.
Yeah, I can either way. Whatever I do, I can talk about. So if I do watch the first one, I can say, "Yeah, James, you were so right. You need to watch the first one." No. Or I might say, I didn't see it and it's okay, or I did see it and it was still didn't think it mattered. But Yeah. Okay. I mean, one thing that I would say is, just before we go, is I am starting to feel a bit saturated with the superhero stuff, but that's an aside that is maybe for next week or something.
Yeah, I mean it's next year will be quite interesting with Glass coming out.
Yeah, I know you're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, but that adds a whole new spin onto the superhero universe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of okay with that. But I mean, I'm just going to hold back. I'm okay with the spin stuff if it's done well.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I would say is that for a lot of the spin stuff, is quite easy to just sort of slip back into that superhero.
I mean, when I think
generic.
about superhero spins, there's the Shyamalamaverse, and there's Misfits with Channel 4 TV series,
Yes.
which I thought was very good.
I love Misfits. Yes.
Cloak and Dagger is also quite interesting as well.
Yeah, which we've sort of mentioned that we look at some point.
And the idea of the Runaways was quite interesting, which is a Hulu TV series about a group of kids who have some sort of abilities.
Yeah.
But it becomes more about the drama, and the hero stuff is second part to the characters.
I mean, I suppose there was the series Heroes.
Heroes, yeah.
There's been quite a lot over the years where they've done the spin stuff. And one of the reasons that I'm sort of holding back a bit is I know that we're going to talk about Luke Cage coming up in the TV strand. So, I think there's maybe we can talk about this a little bit more then.
I am looking forward to our Luke Cage episode.
Okay.
So,
well, I know you're kind of more into the superhero stuff a bit more than me, and that's maybe why I'm starting to get a bit tired, because I want to get my teeth into stuff that...
I'm wearing a Doctor Who t-shirt, and David's wearing a Punisher t-shirt.
So right now I am sounded like a complete hypocrite. Although I did say the Punisher was my favourite character on one of the previous podcasts, which you can go and listen to.
Nice.
So I was at the Jessica Jones. Well, it was probably the Punisher one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But we've done quite a lot of superhero stuff on the podcast.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we're about, because we kind of do mainstream movies. We don't really do indie stuff. I'd like to do a little bit more of that. Yeah. But what that means is that superhero stuff comes up a lot, and am I looking forward to Ant-Man? I guess is the question that I'm trying to answer here, and the honest answer is probably not.
No, or just meh. I'll just meh go in it.
Just not meh. I know you've seen it already, so you have to hold back a little bit here. But no, I'm not. Like, from what I've seen in terms of the trailer, I know is going to be typical Marvel. There's going to be funny bits in it. There's going to be action sequences. There's going to be superhero, probably either world-ending stuff or, So I'm just like, I'm not looking forward to it. No, okay. But I might be I might be pleasantly surprised. I might not be.
Yeah.
But I can honestly say that I'm not really excited about this film.
Okay. Right, that's fair enough.
All right.
Yeah.
But so
cool.
Tune in next week to find out the whether that changes or not. I guess for the film stuff. Check out the TV strand. Look forward to minisodes. And just keep listening more than anything else, and keep telling people about the podcast if you like the podcast.
The minisode contains no spoilers, and these episodes are really about if you've seen the movie and you want to really find out if you think the same way as us, or you don't care about spoilers or whatever. And we're just geeks. We love movies, and we think you might be interested in what we have to say. Yeah.
So if you do like what we say, then tell other people about it.
Yeah, give us a like. Cool.
So subscribe, etc.
We're on Twitter,
etc.
and Facebook, and all that. We'll post more stuff there.
We should really record an outro pitch, shouldn't we?
That just does all this.
Instead of just stringing it out like a long ball, or like a magician's scarf where it just keeps going on, and you're just I know how you're doing this trick, but it's not really exciting me anymore.
We might try timing these soon, just trying to get it to a certain time.
But the more that we speak, maybe the more fun, maybe. I'm saying that I'm looking for you for approval, James, and it's just it's not quite happening.
I think I think it might be over.
It might be over, but I do feel like this is our thing now. Is that we just keep the end going and going. It's like the never-ending podcast outro.
Well, if you tune in next week, you'll get more of this.
Yeah, and, more of this.
Yeah,
solid gold podcasting.
Yeah, and we're not really. Tune in next week, and we'll hopefully have some more shenanigans for you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll speak to you soon. All right. Cool.
Bye-bye.
Bye.